Welcome to Mind Fuel Audio, where we ignite your mind with powerful ideas and timeless wisdom. This channel is your destination for motivational and intellectual audiobooks that inspire growth, transformation, and deeper understanding. Here, we focus on enriching your inner world, no visuals, no distractions, just pure, meaningful content to fuel your journey. In today's series, we're diving into the Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, a life-changing guide to embracing vulnerability, cultivating courage, and letting go of the need for perfection. At its heart, this book is a call to live authentically, to find joy in our imperfections, and to embrace what Brené calls wholehearted living. Through 10 powerful guideposts, Brené invites us to stop hustling for approval and start celebrating the beautifully messy, wonderfully imperfect essence of who we truly are. This journey is about courage, connection, and compassion, tools we can all use to build a life of meaning and purpose. At Mind Fuel Audio, we believe that true transformation begins within. So, as we explore the wisdom of the gifts of imperfection, take a moment to reflect, recharge, and embrace your own imperfections. Let this audio be a companion on your path to a more authentic you. Let's begin. Part 1: Embracing Imperfection, Introduction and Foundation. In the opening section of the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown lays the foundation for the book's exploration of wholehearted living, introducing the key themes of courage, compassion, and connection as essential components of a fulfilling life. She begins by urging readers to embrace their imperfections, highlighting that vulnerability is not a weakness, but rather a source of strength. Brown discusses how societal pressures often encourage the pursuit of perfection, resulting in self-doubt and shame, which ultimately disconnect people from their true selves. This disconnection stems from the belief that we must be flawless to be worthy of love and belonging. Through the first chapters, Brown emphasizes the importance of showing up and being seen, even when we feel exposed or imperfect, as a pathway to deeper human connection. She connects vulnerability to courage, explaining that it takes immense bravery to let go of the facade of perfection and embrace one's authentic self. The book also touches on the concept of shame, which often holds people back from stepping into their vulnerability. Brown defines shame as the fear of disconnection, feeling that if others knew the real us, they would not accept or love us. She argues that shame is one of the greatest barriers to wholehearted living, as it fuels the desire to hide imperfections and avoid emotional risks. By contrast, Brown introduces the concept of wholehearted living as an approach to life rooted in authenticity and acceptance of imperfection. This philosophy encourages individuals to be present in their lives, to nurture their sense of self-worth, and to cultivate meaningful connections with others. It's about embracing flaws, being vulnerable, and stepping into the world with the courage to be seen as you are. The foundation of this part of the book is grounded in research and personal stories. Brown shares insights from her work as a researcher on vulnerability and courage, underscoring that the path to wholehearted living is not about achieving perfection but about accepting imperfections. She presents vulnerability as a powerful tool for building meaningful relationships, noting that true connection happens when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable with others. In this section, Brown invites readers to examine the pressures they feel to conform to unrealistic standards and to instead choose a life of authenticity, where imperfection is not only acceptable but celebrated. She introduces the idea of the power of enough, where individuals can feel whole and complete as they are, without the need to constantly strive for more or compare themselves to others. Brown's narrative encourages readers to release the toxic pursuit of perfection and embrace the gifts that imperfection brings: resilience, joy, and connection. Part 2: Understanding Shame and the Power of Worthiness. In Part 2 of the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown delves deep into the emotional forces that often hold us back from embracing our authentic selves, focusing on two central concepts: shame and worthiness. Brown opens by explaining the destructive power of shame, describing it as the feeling that we are fundamentally flawed and, as a result, unworthy of love and belonging. She contrasts shame with guilt, noting that while guilt is about feeling bad about our actions, shame is about feeling bad about who we are as people. According to Brown, shame is a powerful force because it isolates us, it convinces us that if others knew the truth about us, they would reject us. This sense of isolation often leads to emotional numbness, self-criticism, and a constant drive to meet unattainable standards. Brown explores how shame is not just a personal experience but also a collective one, shaped by societal expectations and cultural norms. From a young age, we are socialized into ideals of perfection, often internalizing messages that our worth is tied to achievements, appearance, and approval from others. These external pressures create a shame-based culture, where individuals feel compelled to hide their flaws and present a curated version of themselves to the world. Brown uses her own experiences as a researcher and personal anecdotes to illustrate how this pervasive culture of shame shapes people's behaviors and self-perceptions. She explains that people often engage in shame shields like perfectionism, people-pleasing, and numbing behaviors, such as overeating, drinking, or withdrawing, to protect themselves from feeling vulnerable and exposed. At the core of overcoming shame is cultivating a strong sense of worthiness. Brown argues that one of the most transformative steps in healing shame is to recognize that we are all worthy of love and belonging, simply because we are human. Worthiness is not something to be earned through accomplishments or external validation, it is inherent and unconditional. This realization is a powerful antidote to shame, as it allows individuals to embrace their imperfections and embrace self-compassion. Brown emphasizes that the process of cultivating worthiness involves learning to be kind to oneself, letting go of the need for constant approval, and practicing self-acceptance. The chapter also highlights the importance of vulnerability in this journey. Brown explains that vulnerability is the key to breaking the cycle of shame because it involves showing up as our authentic selves, without hiding our flaws or pretending to be perfect. Vulnerability is not about being weak or exposed, but about having the courage to be seen as we truly are, imperfections and all. In this sense, vulnerability is an essential practice in building true connection with others, as it invites others to also be authentic and open. However, Brown acknowledges that vulnerability can be difficult because it requires emotional risk, allowing ourselves to be seen in our full humanity, with all of our messiness and imperfections. Furthermore, Brown discusses the role of shame resilience, which is the ability to recognize when we are experiencing shame and to navigate it without letting it control our lives. Shame resilience involves identifying the triggers that activate shame, such as specific people or situations, and learning how to respond in healthy ways. Brown outlines key strategies for developing shame resilience, such as speaking about our shame with trusted people, practicing self-compassion, and learning to embrace vulnerability as a strength. She also addresses the importance of creating shame-resilient communities, places where people can share their struggles openly, without fear of judgment or rejection. Ultimately, Part 2 of the book is about recognizing the powerful impact of shame on our lives and taking steps toward healing through self-compassion, vulnerability, and the affirmation of our inherent worthiness. Brown calls on readers to challenge the perfectionist ideals that fuel shame and to embrace a more authentic, wholehearted way of living. She emphasizes that this is not an easy journey, but it is one that leads to profound transformation, deeper connections with others, and a greater sense of peace and self-acceptance. Part 3, The 10 Guideposts for Wholehearted Living. In Part 3 of the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown introduces the 10 guideposts for wholehearted living, which are the core principles that lead to a life filled with authenticity, courage, and self-compassion. These guideposts are designed to help individuals move away from the shame, fear, and perfectionism that hold them back and towards a more fulfilling, connected, and empowered existence. Each guidepost represents an area where we can cultivate a mindset and behavior shift to embrace imperfection and practice vulnerability, creating the foundation for wholehearted living. 1. Letting go of what people think, authenticity. Brown begins by emphasizing the importance of authenticity, the ability to show up as our true selves, regardless of others' expectations. She explains that a common barrier to authenticity is the overwhelming concern about what others think of us. This fear leads to a constant cycle of people-pleasing and pretending to be someone we're not, ultimately disconnecting us from our true selves. To live wholeheartedly, we must learn to prioritize our own values and sense of self over the need for external validation. Brown advises practicing vulnerability by speaking our truth, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular, and releasing the pressure to conform to societal norms or others' expectations. 2. Letting go of perfectionism, self-compassion. The second guidepost focuses on releasing perfectionism, which Brown defines as an unhealthy striving for flawlessness that ultimately serves to protect us from feelings of inadequacy or shame. Perfectionism often leads to chronic self-criticism and burnout, preventing us from truly enjoying life and taking risks. Brown differentiates between striving for excellence, which is healthy, and perfectionism, which is rooted in fear of failure and judgment. Letting go of perfectionism involves practicing self-compassion, being kind to ourselves when we fall short or make mistakes, and understanding that imperfection is not only acceptable, but necessary for growth. 3. Cultivating a resilient spirit. This guidepost is about building emotional resilience, which Brown defines as the ability to navigate challenges, setbacks, and adversity without losing our sense of self-worth. Resilience involves developing a mindset that views struggles as opportunities for growth rather than signs of failure. Brown stresses that embracing vulnerability is a key part of resilience, as it allows us to face difficulties head-on and recover more quickly from emotional pain. This guidepost encourages us to develop a toolkit of strategies for managing stress and maintaining emotional balance, such as mindfulness, self-care, and seeking support from others. 4. Cultivating gratitude and joy. Gratitude is at the heart of wholehearted living. Brown explains that practicing gratitude shifts our focus from scarcity, what's missing in our lives, to abundance, what we have. By regularly acknowledging the good things in our lives, we build resilience against negativity and cultivate joy. Brown emphasizes that joy is often fleeting and can be difficult to hold on to, especially when we are conditioned to fear that something good will be taken away. However, gratitude allows us to embrace joy fully and without reservation, helping us savor the present moment and deepen our sense of connection with ourselves and others. 5. Letting go of the need for certainty, trust and intuition. The desire for certainty can be paralyzing, as it often leads to overthinking and an inability to take risks. Brown argues that wholehearted living requires us to embrace uncertainty and trust ourselves to navigate the unknown. This guidepost encourages individuals to develop trust in their intuition, making decisions based on their inner wisdom rather than seeking external validation or reassurance. Brown teaches that learning to sit with discomfort and ambiguity can help us become more confident and self-reliant, allowing us to move forward even when the path ahead is unclear. 6. Cultivating creativity. Creativity is a vital component of wholehearted living because it allows us to express ourselves authentically and embrace our unique perspectives. Brown explains that creativity is not limited to the arts but can be found in any area of life, from problem-solving to innovation. This guidepost invites us to engage in creative activities without fear of judgment or failure, understanding that creativity is a process rather than a product. By nurturing our creative impulses, we allow ourselves to step into new experiences and break free from rigid expectations, fostering a deeper connection with our own potential. 7. Cultivating rest and play. In a culture that often prioritizes productivity over well-being, this guidepost calls for the importance of rest, relaxation, and play. Brown emphasizes that true rest is not merely the absence of work, but a conscious act of replenishing our energy in nurturing our mental health. Play, too, is a necessary part of wholehearted living, as it allows us to reconnect with our inner child, reduce stress, and enjoy life's simple pleasures. Brown encourages readers to set aside time for activities that bring joy and lightness, whether it's spending time with loved ones, engaging in hobbies, or simply enjoying a moment of stillness. 8. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. This guidepost critiques the cultural glorification of busyness and overwork, where being constantly exhausted is mistakenly seen as a sign of success. Brown explains that exhaustion and burnout are not marks of worthiness, but signs of imbalance and disconnection from our true selves. Letting go of this mindset involves rethinking the value of our time and energy, making room for rest and prioritizing what truly matters. This shift helps us reclaim our well-being and recognize that our worth is not tied to our productivity. 9. Cultivating calm and stillness. Calm and stillness are essential for grounding ourselves in the present moment, especially in a world that constantly pulls us in different directions. Brown discusses the importance of creating space for mindfulness and reflection, allowing ourselves to simply be without distractions or the need to perform. This guidepost encourages readers to engage in practices such as meditation, breathing exercises, or journaling to center themselves and find peace amidst the chaos of everyday life. 10. Letting go of being cool and always in control, laughter, song, and dance. The final guidepost invites us to release the need to appear cool or in control all the time. Brown asserts that true connection and joy come from letting go of the facade of perfection and embracing spontaneity, laughter, and play. This guidepost encourages individuals to enjoy life's simple pleasures without worrying about appearances, whether it's dancing to music in the living room, laughing with friends, or expressing vulnerability in ways that bring us closer to others. Part 4, The 10 Guideposts, Guideposts 4 to 7. In Part 4 of the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown continues her exploration of the 10 guideposts for wholehearted living, focusing on guideposts 4 through 7. These guideposts help readers understand how to embody gratitude, creativity, rest, and emotional resilience in a practical and grounded way, guiding them on the path to a life of authenticity, connection, and courage. Each guidepost serves as a tool to move beyond the barriers of perfectionism, shame, and fear and to embrace a more wholehearted and fulfilling way of living. Guidepost 4, Cultivating Gratitude and Joy. Brown stresses that gratitude is not merely a nice feeling, but a practice that can transform how we see and experience life. She emphasizes that cultivating gratitude shifts our mindset from scarcity to abundance, acknowledging what we have, rather than what we lack. Brown explains that joy is often fleeting because we are conditioned to believe that it is too good to last. To counter this, gratitude is essential in savoring moments of joy and fully embracing them without the constant fear that they will be taken away. Practicing gratitude, according to Brown, involves actively recognizing the good things in our lives and taking the time to reflect on them daily. This guidepost encourages readers to cultivate joy by connecting deeply with the small moments of beauty, love, and laughter that fill everyday life. Brown also addresses the relationship between gratitude and vulnerability. Expressing gratitude often requires us to be vulnerable and open to the possibility of loss, but it is through this vulnerability that we can experience true joy. Guidepost 5, Letting Go of the Need for Certainty, Trust and Intuition. This guidepost challenges our obsession with certainty and the need for perfection before taking action. Brown explains that the constant search for certainty creates unnecessary stress and prevents us from taking risks or embracing new opportunities. To live wholeheartedly, we must develop trust in ourselves and our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Brown discusses how intuition is a powerful tool that often gets drowned out by the noise of fear and doubt. She encourages readers to listen to their inner voice and to trust the process, even when the outcome is unknown. Letting go of the need for certainty requires us to be comfortable with ambiguity, learning to embrace the present moment without constantly seeking reassurance. Brown also highlights that trust, both in ourselves and in others, is foundational to wholehearted living. It allows us to move forward without needing every answer in advance. Guidepost 6, Cultivating Creativity. Creativity is another powerful practice in wholehearted living, as it allows us to express our true selves and engage with the world in a unique and meaningful way. Brown dispels the myth that creativity is only for artists or people who are naturally gifted. She argues that creativity is a fundamental human trait that can be found in all aspects of life, from problem-solving at work to expressing emotions in relationships. This guidepost encourages individuals to engage in creative activities without judgment or the need for a perfect outcome. Brown notes that creativity thrives in an environment of curiosity and play, and that the fear of failure often stifles creative expression. Embracing creativity means allowing ourselves to be messy, imperfect, and open to new possibilities. Brown also emphasizes that creativity fosters resilience, as it provides an outlet for dealing with difficult emotions and life's challenges. By cultivating creativity, we tap into a deeper connection with ourselves and others, expressing our values, dreams, and vulnerabilities in ways that are both liberating and healing. Part 5, The 10 Guideposts, Guideposts 8 to 10. In Part 5 of the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown wraps up her exploration of the 10 guideposts for wholehearted living, continuing to offer insights into how to live a more authentic, brave, and connected life. These last 3 guideposts focus on letting go of societal expectations and cultural pressures, embracing vulnerability in our connections with others, and allowing ourselves to be fully engaged with life's moments without fear of judgment or failure. Guidepost 8, Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. Brown begins by addressing one of the most prevalent issues in today's society, the glorification of busyness and the misconception that exhaustion equals productivity or worth. In a culture where being constantly busy is often associated with success, Brown challenges this notion by explaining that exhaustion is not a badge of honor, but a sign of imbalance and disconnection from our true selves. She writes that many individuals equate their self-worth with their productivity, constantly pushing themselves to do more, achieve more, and perform at an unsustainable pace. This mindset leads to burnout, chronic stress, and a sense of emptiness, as people neglect their emotional, physical, and mental well-being in pursuit of external validation. To live wholeheartedly, Brown encourages readers to redefine their relationship with work and productivity. Rather than deriving worth from what we do or how much we achieve, Brown advocates for understanding that our inherent worth is not based on productivity, but on being human and worthy of love and belonging just as we are. She suggests embracing practices such as slowing down, resting, and practicing self-compassion to combat exhaustion, creating space for relaxation, rejuvenation, and meaningful connection. Guidepost 9, Cultivating Calm and Stillness. In this guidepost, Brown emphasizes the importance of calmness and stillness as foundational practices for living wholeheartedly. In a world that constantly demands our attention and pulls us in multiple directions, finding moments of peace and quiet is essential for our emotional well-being. Calm and stillness allow us to reconnect with our inner selves, providing the mental clarity and emotional resilience needed to navigate life's challenges. Brown notes that many people have a hard time slowing down, as they feel pressure to always be doing something or to fill every moment with activity. She argues that stillness and calm are not luxuries, but necessities for cultivating mindfulness, emotional awareness, and self-reflection. Practicing stillness can be as simple as taking deep breaths, meditating, or spending time in nature without distractions. By creating moments of calm, we allow ourselves to pause, recharge, and engage with life more intentionally. Calm and stillness help us become more present, enabling us to appreciate the small moments of joy and connection that are often overlooked when we're constantly rushing. Brown emphasizes that through stillness, we cultivate greater resilience, emotional clarity, and a deeper connection with ourselves and others. Guidepost 10, Letting go of being cool and always in control, laughter, song, and dance. The final guidepost encourages readers to let go of the need to be cool or always in control, which often leads to a life of emotional distance and disconnection from true joy. Brown explores how societal pressures often encourage us to present a polished, composed, and in-control version of ourselves, which can prevent us from fully engaging with life. The need for control and the fear of vulnerability can prevent us from experiencing the spontaneity, joy, and connection that come from embracing life's messy and unpredictable nature. This guidepost calls for embracing a more authentic and joyful way of being, one that invites laughter, song, and dance into our lives. Brown highlights that when we let go of the need to appear cool or have everything under control, we create space for joy, creativity, and connection. She points out that being overly concerned with maintaining control can lead to emotional repression and missed opportunities for fun and closeness with others. By embracing vulnerability and letting go of the need for perfection, we can open ourselves up to life's most joyful and meaningful experiences. Brown encourages readers to engage in activities that make them feel alive and fully present, whether it's dancing to a favorite song, laughing with friends, or singing out loud. These activities help us reconnect with our inner child, fostering a sense of play and liberation that is essential for wholehearted living. At Mindful Audio, we believe in the transformative power of embracing our imperfections and living with authenticity, vulnerability, and courage. Much like the wisdom shared in Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection, our channel is dedicated to helping you unlock the potential within yourself by offering motivational and intellectual insights that encourage you to embrace who you are, imperfections and all. Brown's 10 guideposts for wholehearted living align with the ethos of Mindful Audio, where we explore how to cultivate self-compassion, let go of the pressures of perfectionism, and live with greater joy and connection. By letting go of societal expectations, choosing authenticity over the fear of judgment, and learning to embrace vulnerability, we invite you to walk the path of wholehearted living, just as we encourage you to absorb and reflect upon the motivational ideas shared on our channel. Whether it's through letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol, cultivating gratitude, or embracing the creative spirit, each episode on Mindful Audio serves as a reminder that you are enough just as you are. Both in the words of Brené Brown and in the content we share, we remind you that wholehearted living is not about perfection, but about choosing courage over comfort, connection over isolation, and self-compassion over self-criticism. The journey to embracing imperfection is one that requires continuous self-reflection, and through Mindful Audio, we hope to support you as you walk that journey with greater self-awareness and an open heart.